Hello, everyone. Someone in the group had a question about how to add harmonies and, I guess, atmosphere, overtones and stuff to a track. And of course, the easiest is to just use a plugin. But I've sort of come up with a way of doing it that gives me a lot of knobs to adjust the sound and how much harmonies and stuff like that. So I thought I'd just share that, try to keep it quick and simple. So what I've done, I just played one single guitar. So I got one track here with absolutely dry signal. Listen to that. There is very little done on that signal. There is no compression. There is a little bit of EQ, so I don't know if it's easy to see, but I basically cut the low end off and I just drag down a little bit uh, of a yeah boxy sound there around 150 hertz. So that's all done on that signal, and with a little bit of mucking around here, and that's what I'm gonna share. Uh, I have this sound now. And I can, if I take away the reverb and ping delay, it sounds like this. So there's a lot more overtones and nuances to that. Now, even without the reverb and stuff. But um, what I've done, I'm trying to keep this quick. So I've taken the dry signal, duplicate that track, gone into the second track and add quite a lot of quite a lot of tape saturation, and I changed the EQ quite dramatically. So I down a fair bit on the low side, and I basically raised with about 12 dB on the very high side. So that's basically to make one track here with mainly overtones, and to have that to then balance up the dry track with. That track I also send on the effect bus to a reverb. And I doubled that track. So I got one more. This is not necessary, but I find it gives me more flexibility. I have the same EQ. Everything is the same. Basically, I have a saturation, and both of these, we can call that doubled tracks, also have, no, a normal compression to them. This one I send to another effect bus that have a ping pong delay, right? And on the two effect uh, buses, I have put a compressor after the effect where I side link the dry guitar track. So that dry guitar track basically suppress the reverb and ping pong delay. And that's obviously just to get a clear sort of sound with not too much effects while I'm actually playing while there is a note coming out. But as soon as that sort of signal goes down, this After Effects comes to life. So what this enables me is that I get a lot of knobs to play with. So I can obviously work on the volume, on the effects, the reverb and ping pong. I can work on the volume on the two copied tracks, which basically have overtones on them. And now I can place them left and right, and I can thereby sort of put a lot of life to the signal. And if I want to look at the signal uh, while it's sort of dry, so I'm opening a plugin. So I'm working on Cubase 14. So this is called supervision. So if I turn off the two copied tracks that have a lot of overnotes to them and just take the dry track, you can see here on the left and right that it's an absolute flat signal smack in the middle. And it's quite low frequencies. I wanted to loop that one, sorry. It's not much sort of high frequency energy at all. So now we're going to open up the two tracks that have a lot of overtones to them. I could turn down the reverb and ping pong echo. But you can see already without reverb and ping pong echo that the signal now it's not completely flat. And I can widen the signal by pushing one signal left all the way out, one to the right. So there's a much more life into it. And you can see the high frequencies here with all the overnotes have a lot more energy in them. And if I open up the reverb and ping pong echo, you can see you get a lot of life into the signal. So I also have one of the double track is a little bit delayed, 20 milliseconds, and the other one is 20 millisecond earlier. So it's also help widen the signal a little bit and separate the two sounds. Now, the only thing with that is you need to keep an eye on this window with phase issues. You can see that there are some phase issues showing up in the higher frequencies. But I don't see that as a major problem. It's basically create even more sort of space and atmosphere to the sound. Yeah, so I just thought I share that. Now, obviously, you can tweak a lot of the knobs here now to create exactly the sound that you want to have. The amount of overnotes compared to the dry initial signal, the amount of reverb, ping pong, or you might just want to use one of them, and so forth. But for what it's worth, I recommend you to set these up with a side link compressor on the After Effect and so forth, because the method, the principle of doing this with a track can be used for a lot of things beyond, you could say, overtones and atmosphere. You might want to have a puncher bass, for instance. The bass you might want to have more oomph to it, and then you can use envelope shapers and stuff. Instead of like here, the only thing I really do is that I saturate the signal with a very simple plugin. So I don't use any fancy plugins here. It's all basic Steinberg thing that came with Cubase. You can do the same with any DAW. You don't necessarily need to buy a expensive plugin to play with sound in this way. All right. Thanks for listening. Fun out there. Cheers.